Welcome to the Genealogy Gems TV channel and to this special video version of the Genealogy Gems Podcast, which brings you genealogy online all the time. I'm your host, Lisa Louise Cooke. Well, Ancestry.com has recently announced a new feature. It's called Member Connect. And here to tell us about it is David Graham, Director of Product Management at Ancestry.com. Welcome, David.
Thanks very much. It's great to join you.
Oh, well, I'm really excited to have you here because this looks like a very new and innovative feature. It looks quite different than what many of us are used to, and it looks like it has a lot of different components to it. So I'm hoping that you can just take us on a little tour and give us an overview of what Member Connect is really all about and what it offers. But the first question I wanted to ask you was, what prompted the creation of Member Connect at Ancestry?
That's a wonderful question. So we do kind of research with our members and our customers a lot. We bring customers in very frequently to look at products we're building and things like that. And we also do a fair amount of surveying, as well as kind of watching people's feedback on our blogs and in the message boards and things like that. And one thing that definitely stood out was that sometimes the most meaningful experience in research or the most helpful kind of jump start when you're stuck somewhere is connecting with someone else who's researching the same ancestors as you are. And as we've watched how much activity there is on the website, we said to ourselves, well, there's bound to be a lot of people researching the same things that probably aren't aware that they are and could have some really valuable information to help each other kind of run past roadblocks or to correct information that they had wrong or anything like that. So really the intention of all of this is to enable members to find other members who are researching the same people they are so that we kind of begin the process of collaboration.
Great. And this was something that your subscribers had asked you about and was saying that they were finding helpful?
Essentially, there have been some pretty manual ways you could go about finding other members, and the people who have used those methods through surveys and other methods have expressed how helpful it's been. But it's been pretty manual and somewhat limited. And so essentially we wanted to get that ability that some of our more advanced users had figured out available to everybody.
You bet. Well, I know that Ancestry, in talking about its new IPO, had announced some of the subscriber numbers, and you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So there's a lot of people out there to connect with. My guess is, though, that there's probably some challenges with kind of sifting through all of that. So why don't you take us through kind of an overview and give us an idea of what Member Connect can do and how we can hone in on those individual subscribers that might really have things of value for us.
And this is kind of the beginning. We want to continue to, based on feedback, improve things. So we're definitely open to that feedback. So there's a lot of elements of Member Connect, as you mentioned, throughout the site. So it may be a little hard to get your arms around. So I'll hit each of the main points. The first that you'll see here on the screen is our enhanced image page, it's called. And right now we only have it on a select few databases, and we are going to progressively add it to more databases. And there's a number of things going on this page. Part of the things are allowing people to see the index at the same time as seeing the image, or the transcription at the same time as seeing the image, as well as make it easier to make kind of provide alternates if you have reason to believe the index is incorrect. But the Member Connect piece is over here on the right, and there's a few pieces you'd see about any record you're looking at. And this, when I mention record, it's for a specific individual. So you'll see here, this one's for Mamie Dowd, not the image, not everybody on the image. It's just for the one line you're on. Also, to clarify, my demonstration today, I'm going to do it in our testing environment. So some things may not be accurate data. It's a lot of test data and things like that, but that allows me to use the function without actually breaking anything in my own tree. So on this record, the things you'll see is if there are comments on the record, you can see those and you can leave your own comment. Also, depending upon members' privacy settings, which I'll touch briefly on at the end, we can show other members who have saved this record. So if somebody has saved this record to a public family tree on our site, you can see who that member was, look at their profile. You could also click through to see that person in their public tree. They may have other discoveries you didn't know about, maybe a photo that they had of your ancestor that you weren't aware of, things like that. And you can also just start a dialogue with that person. Then, in addition to records that are saved, or who else has saved it, we'll also list who else has contributed to this to record to make corrections. So, for example, if you click, you can see a correction on the name. And right now, actually, in our test environment, that spot isn't displaying exactly as it ought to be. So my apologies there. Finally, two other things that are useful, especially if you don't have other routes to go. This is kind of a dead end for you. One would be related message boards on our site, so message boards for this location or for this surname if we have them. And then finally, if there are other members who have publicly stated in their profile on the site, their member profile, that they are researching this name and location, we'll give you a list of those people. So you might have people that are experts in this name and location that you could ask for additional assistance. So it's really just trying to highlight the activity going on in a record and other people, other members you might want to interact with based on your interest in this record.
David, the first thing I notice when I'm looking at this is I think it's really neat that you have the index on the same page as the image because, as you say, oftentimes you're kind of jumping back and forth or you might be making some corrections. But the Member Connect site on the right, that reminds me a lot of the shaking leaf on our trees that we see and how we connect with people. Is this an extension of that same feature, and what prompted putting it on the actual image page?
Trying to solve a similar thing as the shaky leaves or the ancestry hints, as we call them, in that it's trying to point you at resources we think might be helpful to you. So in spirit, they're similar. It's doing some fairly different things than that is. And the reason for putting it here is really to make sure, whenever possible, that finding a record is not a dead end, right? But that you can get there, you can learn everything you can from the record, first of all, that you can verify the information and learn whatever you can learn, for example, the occupation from the census or whatever it may be. But then from there, have a jumping point into other information. This is also available for all of our members who don't maintain a tree on our site. You can then learn just from using the records without having to have a tree on our site.
That answered my second question. Yeah, I was just wondering, do you have to have a tree? But I could see that this would at least give you a taste of what possible connections there are and might help you to make a determination if a tree would be in your best interest.
This at least surfaces some potential other leads that you might dig into to further your research wherever it is you're organizing it.